So today I'm going to tell you why I love and hate muscle bikes, and we're going to be using the 2017 Harley Breakout as our example here today. So you're getting two videos for the price of one. I'm going to do the review on the bike, and then while we're on the bike, I'm going to tell you what I love and hate about these things. Big thanks to these guys here at American Biker. If you need a used Harley, a new Indian, a used Indian, whatever, come see Rob at American Biker. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's talk about the 17 Harley Breakout. Now, they discontinued these Breakouts in the 2021 year. Of course, they've discontinued the V-Rod, which is what I'm really gonna be thinking about while I'm riding this bike, because they are very similar, at least in some aspects. This one here has the 103 twin cam. The very next year, you could get the 107 or the 114. And of course, this one has a big rear tire, 240 millimeter rear tire, and I think it's a 130 millimeter front tire, 21-inch rim and an 18 respectively. And you have that 35-degree rake angle as well, and the forks are like a 37-degree. So you have a generally pretty long rake, you have a big fat rear tire, and you have 23-degree lean angle on both sides of this motorcycle. Now, to put that in perspective, the Road Glide, the 2020 Road Glide that I ride, has a 32. So it's one of the few bikes where my Road Glide actually has more lean angle than this one right here. So I'm gonna be thinking about the V-Rod while I'm talking about this motorcycle, because that's the most direct comparison I have to this one. 6-speed transmission, right? And this one actually does come with a front LED, and then whoever owned this bike put the LED front and rear turn signals, chopped fenders front and rear, side license plate. You do have a passenger seat, right? Your passenger isn't gonna love you, but they have a seat and they have their own pegs there as well. Drag style bars, flipped upside down instrument gauge right there with the speedometer, so you're gonna get a digital tachometer, all that good stuff. And you have your neutral indicators and your turn signals up top on this little light bar. So what's nice is they actually ran the wires, it looks like, on the inside of the bar, and then a few wires that come through the middle. So it's a really clean look. So you actually have a 5-gallon tank on this one, and you have the black wheels with the chrome accents. This wheel, it kind of reminds me of the Iron 883. And then whoever the owner was actually put some pipes on here. I'm not a huge fan of them. They're really small pipes, but they sound pretty good. So I guess that's really all that matters. Of course, you have the hardtail look, but you do have a monoshock under the seat. Left and right turn signals, we've kind of already covered that. We'll talk about more of some of these features on the road here. Little badge up here. So a good looking bike. This is the charcoal denim, by the way. I'm a fan of what Harley does on their denim bikes. It looks really good. So you also have docking hardware if you want to put bags or something like that as well. So I think we've talked enough about it. Let me go ahead and swing a leg over this, put my helmet on, and let me tell you what I love and hate about the muscle bike. Let's get into it. So I am here, you know where, American Biker, here reviewing 2017 Breakout. It's been about a year since I've ridden a muscle bike, being the V-Rod, Insta on. And today, I'm gonna tell you what I love and hate about these things. Let's go ahead and start it up. All right, 2017 Breakout. Guess what I already did on this thing? That's right, I already hit the feeler peg. When I looked at the specs of this bike, I was like, 23 degrees. Man, that sounds really light. So then I looked up the Road Glide, and I was like, what? You know, there's not too many things the Road Glide beats as far as lean angle, but this is one bike it does. The Road Glide's 32 degrees. This is 23 per side, but it's not really meant to carve the canyons. It's meant for straight line power. So 103 twin cam. 1 year before you had the Milwaukee M8. This bike, of course, is now discontinued. So we kind of already covered the specs, and you know, my seating position, we'll go ahead and talk about that. I don't feel as much like the letter C, get it, C, right? Because my arms are out in front of me, my legs are out in front of me, as I did on the V-Rod. I don't feel as much like the letter C as I did on the V-Rod. So I feel like it's been a while since a V-Rod, but I can remember really feeling cramped over. But on this bike, I don't feel it as much. So maybe these bars come back just a little bit further. Drag style bars, single instrument cluster. Of course, you have neutral indicator, high beam, turn signals, all that on the little bar above it. LED light up front. And whoever owned this bike put 9,600 miles on it. For a 17, it's pretty good mileage for whoever ends up buying this bike. Front end feels nice and nimble to a point, but with that big 240 millimeter tire, man, you're not going to be turning as quickly as you would like. You're going to have to, one thing I've noticed on this bike and the V-Rod and even the chopper that I did, you got to take wider turns on these bikes for sure. You have your little button over here, right? Your horn, you got your cycle switch right here. You can cycle from your let's see, your tachometer, you got your miles, remaining miles, clock, and of course your gear indicator and RPM range. Do I prefer an analog? Yes, I do. Let's see if the Amazon driver sees me. Is he gonna see me? He is. Thank you, brother, appreciate it. Let's try out the horn. Not great. So one thing I noticed is that this throttle, man, it may not be crap for turning, but man, this thing, it feels like it's ready to freaking go, dude. So we're gonna get on it a little bit up here once we get past this neighborhood and all that stuff. Who's this bike for, man? Let's talk about it. You know, this is not, just my opinion, this is not a bike you're gonna want to go on 3 and 4 and 5 hour rides. Again, I know somebody's gonna say, oh, I went from Florida to Oregon on my Breakout and I did it and I was comfortable the whole time. Hey, like I said, dude, you're better than the rest of us. This is really a great bike for going in straight lines. Bike nights, short rides with your buddies, you know, maybe commuting. I didn't want to take it on the interstate because I got such a wide stance that I feel like I'd probably fly off, you know, it would be like a freaking kite or something. But, you know, regardless, this is a great bike if you're doing short trips, straight lines, whatever the case may be. Like I said, these things were canceled in 2021, along with, I want to say, the FXDR. So I don't even know if Harley has a muscle bike now. I'm trying to think about their lineup. I don't know if they do. Turn signals, of course, on each side there. Brakes work pretty good. Single rotor, single caliber up front for your stopping power. So I'm able to flat foot the bike pretty much. My legs just stick out kind of wide, which isn't really a problem. Here's what I love about these bikes, man. I love the aesthetics. So the aesthetics is one of those things I really like. I even like the way the drag bars look. I love the way the front end looks. It's just a really good looking bike. Even the V-Rod. I mean, I like this a little bit more than the V-Rod as far as aesthetics, but it's still a cool bike, you know, it's still cool. Totally different bikes as far as motors, but they still, you know, look pretty cool, right? Simple, whatever. But the things that I don't like about these bikes definitely outweighs the things that I do. And if you're a muscle bike enthusiast, you love this, dude, again, I'll say it for the 100th time. if you're on a bike, whatever kind of bike it is, I mean, hell, I just got done reviewing a CBR 1000 RR, something that is definitely outside of what I would buy. But the point is if you have a bike and you ride a bike, that's one less person in their freaking car looking at Facebook. I can appreciate that. Let's get back to the shop and let me finish my thoughts here. So here's what I want to tell you. Now that we're off the bike, I wanted to gather my thoughts and tell you this muscle bike, what I love and hate about it, and kind of compare it to the V-Rod. So first, let me tell you what I love. The aesthetics. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you ride a CBR or a trike or a frickin' Road Glide or any number of bikes. This bike looks amazing. Chopped fenders, front and rear, a single headlight. So it's really simple, but it's also just a good looking bike. It's really hard for Harley to make a bad looking bike. Muscle bikes in general, I definitely love the aesthetics, by the way, more than I love the V-Rod as far as the Breakout. It looks really good. The rake, everything looks good on this bike. Even the simple instrumentation, it's just, I don't know, man, it's pretty awesome. These things are about 20 grand too, you know, at least when they were new. This one's right in 19. Like I said, it's got 9,600 miles. So there's that. Love the denim paint. And, you know, overall, the aesthetics, they look good. The seating position on this one, I like a little better than the V-Rod. I don't feel like I'm as far forward. Like I use the letter C as an example, but I feel like I was a little bit more comfortable on this bike. One attention to detail I love too. You see this fender, right? And how it just kind of slightly curves up. Looks awesome, dude. Love it. And I even like the way it looks with the 240 millimeter rear tire. It just fits that well really good. Here's where this bike starts to lose me though. I scraped coming out of this, out of American Biker. So you have a bike that's aggressive in your position, in your seating stance, but limited in how aggressive you can ride it because you're going to be scraping all the freaking time. Look at these little feelers on the bottom. So, and then you couple that with a 240 millimeter rear tire, which means what? Your cornering is going to suck even more. So I feel like you have an aggressive looking bike, looks good, sounds good, that you have to kind of take it easy with because of its limitations. I don't like that. You know, on a lot of these bikes, I talk about the limitations, you know, the purposes of the bike, and a lot of these motorcycles that are limited in their purpose, right? Let's just take the CBR. Well, its purpose is to go fast, corner hard, all of that. But you can do all that on this. On this, its purpose is straight lines. Looking good in a straight line. Bike nights, charity rides, from the bar, he was waving, from the bar to the church ride, this thing would be good. A commuting bike, maybe, yeah, there you go. But it just can't, you can't ride it as aggressively as the motor, even the twin cam, the seating position, everything says ride me fast and ride me hard, ride me into those corners. But then you hear, you know, on the bottom. Oh, man. So, to me, this is just my opinion. It's limited on how you can ride it, and it's limited on its purpose as well. I would not take this thing cross country. You know, I wouldn't even probably even go on a 2-hour trip. You know, it's like when you're this wide and you get on the interstate, you know, you're going to have the wind beating you up. You're going to be, I would feel like you would be really exhausted after a day on this motorcycle. But regardless, if this is what you like and you want to take a look at any number of these bikes, that bike, that bike, that bike, all the bikes inside, come to American Biker, talk to Rob. These guys will take care of you. Tell them that I sent you. Again, thank you to them for letting me review the 2017 Harley Breakout. I'm glad I had a chance to ride it and form an opinion on it. If you want to see me ride anything else in the future, if you're like, dude, Maybe you don't like the V-Rod, maybe you don't like this bike as much, but you need to ride this specific type of muscle bike. Let me know down below. You have any ideas for videos? I'm always learning from you guys. Leave those down below as well. If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, sharing the video. See you in the next one, and as always, hold the rubber side down.